everybody, I'm Danny Otto. Welcome into an all-new episode of That Recap Show. Now, before we get into the episode, just want to issue major spoiler alert. We are going to be going over our favorite parts of Fantastic Four First Steps. So if you haven't watched that movie yet, you may want to pause this video. Head over to any of your favorite digital streaming sites, rent or purchase that. Finally, we can watch it at home and analyze every detail that we like, and then come back and enjoy the breakdown. Now, with that out of the way, let's start the show.
Poppin' Off presents That Recap Show.
All right, joining with me to break down our favorite moments from the Fantastic Four First Steps, it's Jon Jon Rico.
It's clobbering time!
You did it!
It's clobbering time!
You said the thing.
I said the thing. I did it.
I don't really say that. It's only for the cartoon, guys.
Yeah, no. Come on, say it. Please say it. Say it. Pick up the car.
That was one of my favorite running things that was kind of going through that was just kind of, Ben going, I don't really say that. Like, I'm not going to say it. Because even Johnny was trying to get him to say it at certain times and everything like that. I just thought that was such a perfect, just like every once in a while to just kind of poke at it and kind of just like be like, come on, do the thing. Do the thing.
Yeah.
Like,
They'll build up to it and give it a nice payoff.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, but I like having these little subtle, like running through the movie things, and that was one of them that I really enjoyed. But yeah, there are many things to enjoy about this movie. This movie was insane. Like I mean, I had a ton of expectations obviously going into this because it's, the third remake of a Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah, so their third version we got just within the last 20 years.
And technically, if we're being real, like accurate, it's the fourth. We just never got that one released, the very early one. But those actors are actually in this movie, which is absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that was awesome. That they actually included them too. And I know they were at like all the red carpet premieres and stuff for the movie, which was great. I think all of the Fantastic Four actors from like all of the different ones were actually at some of the red carpet events, which was
nice. Yeah.
Really cool to see. But yeah, like it far exceeded my expectations just in every way. Like it had a lot of drama, a lot of character building, team building, I guess, and little elements of humor here and there, which I really appreciated to kind of either lighten the mood or make these characters feel real, I guess is the best way to put it. Cause it was like human humor. It wasn't like written to be over the top and outlandish kind of humor in a situation that is over the top and outlandish, being like, a team of superheroes that got their powers from cosmic rays and stuff like that. It was just like, it made them feel more like real people. If that's the easiest way to say that. It made superheroes feel like real people.
Yeah, the way they're able to tackle such like a cosmic threat on such like a kind of like they're on like a calm and cool basis. Like, okay, so like our next thing that we're gonna do here. Like,
right.
It's just like another day at work for them. Yeah,
exactly that. But then also we get the other side of things where it's like they're a real human fears and emotions towards having a baby and how our lives are going to change from that and you know what I mean. Like there's a lot of human elements in these characters and in this movie, in this story in general.
The family story,
right? And it works really well in the way that they're doing that. I think it really balances these characters. And look, I'm coming from a background of I liked the first Fantastic Four. Like, I know it was kind of, it was more over the top and it was more comedic and stuff like that. I mean, that's where we first got our Chris Evans, like being a superhero in the Marvel universe and stuff like that. But like, it was very over the top and it was but that's, I enjoyed that. But like, this is on a completely different level, and that's no shame to the other ones or anything like that. But this is,
Had to be its own thing.
I've got to say what I'm really excited about, and then I'll turn it over to you before I get way too far ahead of myself. But I'm very excited to see this Fantastic Four interact with some of the other MCU characters and stuff like that. I'm just so interested to see some of those other interactions and just kind of what it's like. I'm so excited for that. And just in general, like I've been feeling that like underlying just of, oh shit, we could see these two characters at some point interacting because we're building towards Doomsday and Secret Wars and all of this stuff where all bets are off. Like we could see every single character in the MCU interacting with other people. And I'm just so interested to see some of these interactions. And yeah, this just makes me super excited for when we get to that. But like I said, before I get way far ahead of myself, Rico, what were some of your instant reactions to Fantastic Four First Steps?
Yeah, first of all, the month of July was just like a heavy stacked month as far as superhero movies because we had this and Superman come out within like a few weeks of each other, and I think they both did the job that not a lot of superheroes have really done lately. Like with they're both feel good like superhero movies at the end of the day. Like a lot, the emphasis on the family aspect here on this in this movie is really well done. Again, they are Marvel's first family. That's always been like kind of their moniker. So there's a lot of care that had to go into this, especially given kind of like one like you said, I like the first two with Michael Chiklis as the Thing, Chris Evans as Johnny Storm and all of that. But it does have its fair share of haters as well.
Right.
And then of course you have the Fantastic movie, which was just like not good at all. So yeah, we've really yet to see like the Fantastic Four done and truly done a justice in the way that they haven't that I felt like they were in this movie. I just feel like they really nail like because honestly, when everyone watched The Incredibles back in the day, which honestly, first of all, Michael Giacchino did the music not only for this movie but also for The Incredibles.
Oh wow!
So just listening to the music as well, I already kind of felt like I was watching, kind of like the Incredibles brought to life. But really, when you're watching The Incredibles, you were just watching like a Pixar version of the Fantastic Four, which is just like a funny kind of thing there, just kind of see the the formula was always there for a great Fantastic Four movie, and the Incredibles is always the one that did it the best. Like I always say, like that was always the best Fantastic Four movie I've ever seen was The Incredibles. But now I feel like they kind of nailed that kind of formula with the actual Fantastic Four characters themselves here too. Yeah, I just feel like every character, in my opinion, was really cast very well. Pedro is awesome as Reed. I think he was the one that was probably the most worried about as far as like how he'll be able to portray both Reed's knowledge or his intelligence, but also like the human side of him as well. He's a very tricky character, I think, to nail down because he's very complex just in his personality. Vanessa Kirby as Sue, I think, is fantastic. I think she's one of the standout characters in the entire movie. She has some really fantastic stuff in this. And then Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm is really great. I think he plays his role exactly the way he needs to. And gives a little bit of that Eddie vibe from Stranger Things a little bit. I think that's that whole lighthearted, playful nature of him. And obviously the way he bounces off the characters like Ben and Reed is just like really just makes what makes his character really great. And Evan Moss Backrack as Ben Grimm, I thought was an underrated gem in this movie. I think like he doesn't have the most of a character arc compared to the rest of the three characters, but I think there's some stuff that was probably left on the cutting room floor there. But he has some subtle kind of like one-liners that I think were some of my favorite things. Like when he decides to grow out his beard and he gets a couple compliments, goes and goes, "Oh, thank you." Like he does like this really soft like delivery of thank you that kind of reminds you a little bit of like a chord or something like that. Like just the way they give that kind of like, "Oh, thank you," like the innocent rock kind of thing that they're really good at doing. But yeah, I just thought that was all really really well done. I thought they did a great job of pacing with the story. Like I said, the music is just fantastic. Without no pun intended, it's really a great score. And yeah, and it's a standalone story, but it also feels kind of like an earlier MCU movie as far as the way they kind of added some stakes to it and stuff like that, and also the way that it builds to the future in the same way as well. So it really does feel like what the way we with what we had with the Thunderbolts and this, that we're kind of entering this kind of new era of the MCU again, where they're getting back to the quality over quantity kind of thing. And it makes me a lot more excited for what's going to come into the future.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And yeah, I mean, I was already going to see it. And you and I, come from you more specifically come from the comic background, so
Yeah.
you have even a more like a deeper appreciation for everything
Mhm.
and a deeper understanding of certain things and stuff like that. But I come from pretty much every single MCU movie so far. Like I've watched all of them, obviously, and so I know a lot. So obviously, we were gonna, going into this, know, any Easter eggs and anything that if it did connect to the main MCU like universe type of thing. I mean, I know I said basically Marvel Cinematic Universe, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I did really appreciate that they did make this a very self-contained story and made it in its own universe and didn't have that crossover at the end. Really, we're alluding to the crossover at the end and
Mhm.
everything that's to come in the future. But everyone could enjoy this, which was awesome.
Yeah.
You didn't need any homework really. As long as you knew the Fantastic Four in some shape or form or some media, basically, then you knew, kind of what wasn't on the screen about the Fantastic Four. So it was really cool that they were able to do that, and it kind of made it easier to watch if you were just kind of a casual MCU fan and not so much like deep in everything that we've been
Yeah.
in.
It could have been a Phase 1 movie,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
That's kind of exactly what we're getting at.
Yeah. Exactly. You want to get to some big takeaways?
For sure.
Awesome. All right. Why don't you kick off big takeaways?
Okay, so I want to get into some of my favorite scenes here from the movie. The first one I'll say, which is probably my favorite scene from the entire film, is, well, and it's not really just like it's more of a collection of scenes because it's an entire sequence of the movie, I would say, because it's a pretty good chunk. Is one there when they first go up into space to go meet Galactus, which one I just love
Oh
the
yeah.
idea that they're like, okay, we're gonna go up there and we're gonna negotiate with them. You're like, what the fuck? Like, okay, that's just like a very forward way to do it. One, it just kind of shows that how one revered this team is in this world that they're in. Like, obviously, they're the only heroes of this world. It seems like that, to the point where the entire world trusts them to do what they need to do. And they're so confidently just like, okay, we're gonna go up in space and just like negotiate with this kind of like space god, basically. It just kind of shows the level of the scale of threat that they're used to dealing with already, which is good. Already makes them a fun addition. But I digress. But anyway, but they get to Galactus's ship, or they get to the planet that they kind of get like the signature from, and then they see the planet just get demolished in front of their eyes, which is one. That was a pretty cool, just kind of like visual in itself.
Yeah.
I was almost like visually expecting, like kind of like what we've seen in like kind of anime for, like almost expecting to actually like I take a bite out of a planet or something like that. Like say a super giant version of him, like a eternal celestial size version of Galactus doing something like that would have been cool. But the way that he's introduced, the whole like sitting in his kind of like his throne, and he's kind of plugged in and everything, and like it's just his eyes that light up at first. I thought was really cool. I think Ralph Ineson is perfectly cast with, because one, his voice in general is probably why he got cast in this, but his facial structure also just matches what's needed for the look of Galactus, I thought. And I just really like the portrayal of him in this movie, and as well as Silver Surfer in this as well. But that whole kind of a thing where, like, he tries to negotiate the baby Franklin for like their planet and everything, and then kind of them being like, okay, we're not doing this, and then they kind of take the fight to Galactus, which leads into this great chase sequence, of course, which I thought was just one fantastic. I keep saying fantastic, even though we're talking the Fantastic Four, because I say fantastic a lot when I talk about other stuff. But it's just terrifically well done, because one, you have them, you can see all their capabilities in their respective roles. Of course, Ben, I think, being the pilot of this, and you get to see how he gets to work with them when he's gone too far in his capabilities. You see how they kind of use their teamwork to kind of help each other in certain spots. So I thought that was really cool, while also navigating Sue being in labor with Franklin. I think this kind of forced induced labor that kind of Galactus put on her, which I thought was, and the whole birth of Franklin, by the way, was just a really powerful scene, I thought. All in the midst of this crazy, chase sequence going on, but that all culminating in this whole like they get into the black hole and everything, and then they force the Silver Surfer kind of into it so that she can kind of get kind of pulled into that. But my favorite shot of that whole sequence is when she kind of does start to get pulled back into it, and it kind of stretches her out a little bit, and her voice does like some pretty funky. It almost sounds like a something from the Matrix or something like that. Her voice does like kind of matrixy sounds, which I thought was really cool. But the whole like visual of that shot to me reminded me of something that you would see in like a concept art shot or something like that. Like concept art, so can just are kind of just like paintings, but that just looks like something that you want to hang on your wall, something like that, like a stretched out Silver Surfer style, or a comic book panel, even like that. Like too, you see that like stretched out over across 2 pages or something like that. So I thought that was really cool. And then so really, so they get back on Earth and they kind of reveal, okay, we didn't really, things didn't work out with Galactus. So the world was kind of pissed off at them for a little while, like give up your baby. And it was just a pretty like, the dark thing to think about. Like, and I was also thinking about this, like Pedro is also always in his movies where it's like, okay, is it my child or is it the world kind of thing? I'm like, of course he fits in this world, this kind of a role, of course. But that leads to this great speech outside of the back of the building from Sue, where she's talking about how like I would not give up my baby for this world, but I would not give up the world for my because of my baby, essentially. Like my baby will not be the reason that this world dies, essentially. Right. Which is a great scene. Again, it's the reason why I think Vanessa Kirby ended up being one of my favorite characters in the entire movie, is that every single that and the birth scene, or just two powerfully acted scenes on her end. Like, obviously the birth scene is a lot of her doing like a lot of like powerful grunting because she's delivering a baby. But I'm just thinking like, damn, dude, she's like going after it with that. She's giving it her all. And then of course in the end fight too, sequence with Galactus, she's doing the same thing. It's like the way she just kind of throws her all into her powers and everything. It's just incredibly powerful too. I just loved her character from beginning to end. And then my third favorite scene was right before that end battle sequence, when Reed is just kind of sitting in his lab with Franklin, and he's just kind of talking to him, and he's like, it's a great time to see Reed because he's known as like the smartest person in his universe, his world, or whatever it is. But you get to see him kind of be unsure of himself for like the first time. Like we kind of see him be like, okay, I have a solution to every single problem, but when he gets to this, like he doesn't know how to be a father. Like you said, like dealing with parenting and stuff like that in the midst of dealing with this galactic threat and stuff like that too. So it was a really cool kind of a character arc moment for Reed. I think that was why you cast someone like Pedro. I think he's really good at conveying something like that in those kind of situations, given his role in this kind of like these fatherly roles that he's done in the past too. So all those kind of aspects of the family stuff, and along with the visual aspects of like the space scenes and all of that too. I just were all the things I really wanted to see from a Fantastic Four movie. It reminded me of the Jonathan Hickman stuff from the comics, of course. Obviously, very Kirby inspired, given the 1960s futuristic world that they're in. And I love the end of I don't know if it's after the first credits like that, but they do a great quote from Jack Kirby, and they reveal that the reason that it's Earth 828 is because of Jack Kirby's birthday. So that was fantastic. Fantastic again. But yeah, I love this movie so much, and I can't wait to watch more of it.
Yeah, I totally agree. And one thing I really, really liked in this movie, and like I'll keep saying, no offense to the other iterations we've had of the Fantastic Four, I like the displays of Sue's powers, because I really thought it was really cool at how we were getting like almost like a rainbow effect, because it's her it's showing that she's bending the light and she's actually using light and stuff like that. So we're getting like this rainbow effect when she's using her powers and stuff like that. And I mean, it was obviously, there's tons and tons of CGI and stuff like that, because people can't turn into fire and then fly around.
I thought his fire scenes look good too.
Exactly. That's what I was alluding to, is like seeing him fly by stuff and having like little burn singes and stuff, like if he gets too close to something, like, and stuff like little details like that. I thought, we're such good just like demonstrations on how it's like you're seeing this as if this is a real place, this is a real world, this is a real universe. And that kind of leads perfectly into like one of my points in takeaways was, I loved how much like this universe felt completely built out. Like it was not just like, oh, it's the city and that's it, and we're not really paying attention to anything in the background, and just it just looks cool off here and stuff. They went down to the smallest details of everything, single thing that you can think of. There's ads on televisions. There's billboard ads and stuff like that, where they've made it into their own universe, like the Copper Tone, where it's Johnny Storm and stuff like that. Like there's so many little tiny details that makes this place, this universe, feel alive, like feel like a real place. And I just think it was one thing when I was watching it, I was just like, I can't wait to watch this again, to see, like, to be able to pay attention to more of these small little subtle details and these small little things that are here that we can like appreciate the second and third time watching it. Because obviously, when we're watching it the first time, we're paying attention to all the action. We're paying attention to the main story and what's going on and how they're going to figure out how to win and stuff like that. But like the second and third time, we can watch for all these little tiny details and these little tiny things that are really just so interesting. And even like something, and I mean, we've both, mentioned that we watched the new Rockstars breakdowns and stuff like that. They have a super long breakdown on all of the little tiny things in here. And certain things, like I'm only halfway through the breakdown because it is so much to take in. But like one of the things, and shout out to new Rockstars, they're everything they do is incredible. But one of the really cool things that I didn't even think of when I was watching it the first time was they didn't have NASA for their space program, because there's world peace. There was no space race type of thing. Like, you know what I mean? Just like little things that show how much this universe is actually, they thought of everything about this universe. And we may never see this universe again, because the next big
even down to the relationship with Mole Man,
right?
And like that whole thing and how that's all built out. Like,
Exactly.
they fought them, but then they released like a peace treaty with them, and you're like, oh, and then it plays off later on in the movie, of course.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But like, we may never even see this universe ever again because of the events of Doomsday and Secret Wars and stuff like that. We may just all of a sudden have the Fantastic Four in 616 proper and stuff like that moving forward after all, like both of those big Avengers movies. But like, to put so much into this universe to really make it feel like a real living place, I appreciated it so much. And it just like, it let you just kind of live there for the duration of this movie. And so I had to completely make a note of that, because I just thought that was such an awesome thing. It was all I could think about, after, obviously thinking about the main events of the movie and how much I liked, them fighting Galactus and so the new Silver Surfer. Why can't I say that word?
Twister, yeah.
Everything like that, like the main stuff that you take away from the movie, just thinking about everything. I just really appreciated, having this universe that was so built out and put so much detail in everything in it. The other thing is that I really liked was this wasn't an origin story. It was as if we picked it up, and I feel weird making this comparison, because I've said in the past plenty of times that I'm not coming from, the comic, the big, deep comic background. When I find something in the MCU or even DCU and like it, sometimes I'll talk to you and you'll tell me like, oh, you should read that comic run. You should read this. You should check that out. And I'm kind of going at it, like going almost backwards type of thing, like enjoying the media part and then kind of going back to the comic part that kind of inspired that particular like TV show or movie or something like that. But I appreciate this wasn't an origin story. It almost felt like we were starting, multiple issues in type of thing. Like, because it's like, oh, we all know, what exactly happens. And we even got like the quick blurb from that TV show host.
Yeah, I was going to say, I like how they bookend the show or the movie with the Ted Gilbert show with the montage of what they do in the beginning, of course, and of course revisiting it at the end, of course.
Right.
Yeah, which is really cool. Yeah.
Exactly. So, but that was a very quick glossed over kind of history of how they got their powers and the event that led to that and stuff like that. But we didn't get the origin, and that's what we got, in the other two iterations. We got the origin, and that took, a big chunk of the movie, obviously. And the fact that we didn't have to do that meant that we could get thrown into this, and we could get thrown into these characters that, they were like, well, obviously, this team, these characters, how it happened, but now here's what they're, experiencing now. Here's what they have to deal with next and stuff like that. So it really kind of already set things in motion right away. And I really did appreciate that for the way that we could just like just get right into it. And it was the same thing, when Marvel, when the MCU kind of was able to start doing Spider-Man. Also, we didn't waste any time with the origin story that, the other two iterations did. And believe me, it wasn't wasting time. I appreciate the Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire origin story, first Spider-Man movies and stuff like that, and their portrayal of the events and how it happened and everything like that. But sticking purely to Fantastic Four, I just thought it was such a better way to kick off the movie and seeing the team already assembled and seeing how they live together and seeing how they interact together and just feeling like this has already happened. You're just tuning in now type of thing.
Exactly.
And so it was really cool to kind of see that and to have that and to just know that things have been happening all this time. It's outside of our normal MCU. It's outside of the events of pretty much everything we've been watching. The Loki series, the all of the extended MCU in the TV shows, and our main timeline MCU. This is just like been running for the last 4 years while all this other stuff has been happening.
It's essentially an MCU like Elseworlds movie,
right?
Yeah, which is pretty cool. Like it was cool to kind of see them dip their toes into something like that. Like, yeah, we can just tell this movie in this pocket of a universe, and then if we want to, we can find a way to bring them over.
Right. Which we are. We're definitely going to find
these characters, it makes the most sense, of course, given the stakes of like what they're involved with. So,
right.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. And that leads perfectly. Would you like to get into some of those stakes in predictions?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. All right. I'm going to kick off predictions because clearly there are two post-credit scenes that we have to talk about and predict and kind of draw dotted lines to. One of them is the most obvious. It is, the end credit scene from this movie where we see the back of Dr. Doom. And it actually, in the meantime, has been confirmed that was Robert Downey Jr. in that.
Oh, yeah. They were filming Doomsday, I'm sure, while they were doing that, for sure.
We never see his face, but the Russo brothers clarified that was Robert Downey Jr. on set. I believe it was the Russo brothers that actually, confirmed that. Might have been Vanessa Kirby. I'm not 100%.
That Baxter building was looking a little bit different too compared to the movie. Yeah.
Right. But yeah, so we get basically Doom interacting with I think it was a 4-year-old Franklin Richards.
5-year-old Frank. Yeah, I think a 4-year-old Franklin.
Yeah. So, but I mean, there's so much that they can lead to. And it's very interesting to kind of, I like going down all the rabbit holes and theories that we've already seen, that people have been talking about this. In we've already had hints that Latveria was a place. We never got to see the representatives from Latveria during the movie,
right?
Type of thing.
Makes sense that if there is a Doom there, that he wouldn't want any part of what they're doing.
Exactly.
And what's funny during when they do the scene where they're gonna sink all the bridges to teleport the Earth, and then there's the one that doesn't go off. I was like, is this Latveria not playing along? Like that's what first came through my head. And then of course Silver Surfer started crashing through all of them.
Right.
Like, okay, that makes a little bit more sense. But like it would have been really fun. They're like, Latveria's not playing along. Like, why? And then they all just got hammered. And that would have been really cool. And then that would have been a fun way to set up maybe a Doom in that world or something like that, if that's what RDJ was.
Yeah. But some of the theories are that number one, it is the Doom from, this universe. But the reason why, Franklin isn't freaking out, and we don't even see, Sue really push him away or anything. We see her startled, but we don't see her really act in any way of I'm gonna, get this person away from my son. Is that they know each other. They have a relationship. They've known him. He might not be exactly an ally, but he is, not an enemy yet. As of now, as of these events, he's playing it
to their knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The other one is absolutely, goes fucking crazy. The other one that I like, there's so many of them, but the other one that I really like is that what that scene is from, being so many years later, is already Doom changing things, changing history, changing the events of history, and he is already, Sue Storm's married to him already, type of thing. So she's just startled because he wasn't home and he just appeared in there, type of thing. And she just sees him, doesn't do anything because she's already, her memories have already been changed, so that she thinks that she's already in a relationship with Dr. Doom, type of thing. And that's also why, Franklin isn't freaking out, because he, thinks, oh, this is, stepdad Doom, or, father Doom, or you know what I mean? Like something like that.
I felt that there was something possibly like power cosmic related. It already seems like Franklin's pretty well advanced mentally, given what his book interested
Right.
for us. When they're like his book, and it was like some like super scientific book, something about evolution or something like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, like of course this kid's like already he's gonna be insane when he gets older.
Yeah. But yeah, I love to go down the rabbit hole and read about theories and stuff like that. But obviously, post that is going to lead into Doom, or to Doomsday. And we know, something with Doctor Doom using Franklin's powers to kind of rewrite things, or to kind of create Battle World to go into Secret Wars, or something like that. Something to that effect is going to happen, basically.
Yeah.
So that is what we kind of can gather from that post-credit scene. And believe me, if you know theories, by the way, that I haven't even touched on, put them in the comments below, because I love going down the rabbit hole for all of the theories that we can possibly do right now. But the other one is from the Thunderbolts, the second post-credit scene from the Thunderbolts, where we see,
also done during the Doomsday filming.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. We see a Fantastic Four ship entering the atmosphere and stuff like that. We don't know who's inside. We don't know, really anything. Like it could be Doom and Franklin Richards. It could be, the team like chasing Doom and Franklin Richards. It could be, the team with some of the X-Men from their universe. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
it could just be Franklin because they shipped him off. Yeah.
It could be that too. It's so interesting, like, to kind of like I said, we really don't know until we see, some of the teasers from Doomsday and actually watch the movie and stuff like that. But like, it's very interesting, and it makes my brain just want to go more and more in depth down rabbit holes and going, okay, who could possibly be on that? And if that person's on it, what would that lead to? And is it, could Doom and Franklin Richards already be in the 616? And this is, that Fantastic Four team following some sort of signature after Reed was able to figure out, in parallel universe travel and stuff like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it could be months. What was it? 14 months, 16 months?
Yeah, I can't remember exactly. It's been a little bit.
It was either 14 or 16. I can't remember.
Yeah. It was a good chunk.
Yeah, if I can find a screenshot, we'll put it up where it says in the text how many months it was. But anyway, it's just really interesting. It's a specific amount of time. So it would make sense if Reed was still trying to figure out the travel for like portals and stuff like that. That's how long it took to get there, like to be following them, type of thing. Or the events of something happened and it took that long before they were able to open a portal to get to the 616 MCU type of thing. So yeah, just there's so many things. And like I said, I'm going to repeat it. If you have any theories based on either one of these two post-credit scenes or anything else, definitely put them in the comments below. Or if you have links to those, I can't wait to just continue to fall down rabbit holes from these scenes and from everything that we have leading up to Doomsday and Secret Wars and everything like that. But Rico, what were some of your predictions? I guess moving forward, anything I guess is fair game.
Yeah, I mean, so what do we got next? We got Spider-Man next year. Is that the next movie that's supposed to be coming out, or is there another movie that's supposed to be coming out?
We have a couple of series, but yeah, I don't think we have another
series.
movie.
Yeah, which I don't imagine will be too.
Actually, we have a lot of series
as far as the build up. Yeah, there's a lot of like we got Zombies is coming up. We got a Punisher thing coming up. We probably got another Daredevil season.
We got Wonder Man coming up.
Wonder Man's coming up.
Daredevil. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got that stuff coming up. But as far as like, major stuff that could be leading into, especially given the cast that we know of Doomsday already, I feel like maybe Spider-Man maybe don't think that could be leaving out some possible build-up stuff into that. That's why they haven't maybe announced him into the part of that group, cast group yet. I feel like there's still another cast announcement from them in some form. Yeah. But maybe around the same time that we get like a trailer or something, or maybe when they start filming those scenes. But yeah, I'm just really interested to see now all we have to do is theorize up until Doomsday, right? Because we have this, and this is like our big build up until that movie. And like you said, like the Thunderbolts scene as well. Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see who's actually in that ship, because we also know that some people are going to be making it over to the Baxter Building as well, just based off of like reports and stuff like that. When they were doing interviews for this movie, Vanessa Curry was talking. He goes, "Yeah, it's a pretty big room that we have here. Like it's clearly not just made for 4 people." And then of course we got that scene where all the fabric and stuff has changed from blue to red or orange or whatever it was. Yeah, it's very clear. Like, but now I'm wondering like who's going to come, to what universe first? Like, is it going to be our 616 guys going over to them, like to the Baxter Building, or is it going to be because of this, ship coming over from their world? That's going to be okay. Are we just going to go back and forth here? Like, is that the Fantastic Four coming in? Now you guys got to come over here and help us with this, this Doom thing. So that's a very interesting, thing to, kind of ponder as we approach those events. But kind of beyond that, one, I'm excited to see when we're going to see Silver Surfer and Galactus again, because obviously they're not dead. They're just really far away and like in the farthest little pocket that they can get to. Galactus is not someone that you just kill in a one-off movie like that, so I'm really glad that they didn't do that. And he's just someone that you got to deal with later, I would say. And also, who knows? Maybe by the time that we see Doom in the post-credit scenes, he might have already found Galactus in some form, and maybe that's what kind of leads them to Franklin. Like, maybe that the power cosmic that he's been kind of drawn to, or that Galactus was drawn to, is something that Doom was able to kind of like be like, okay, well, what did you learn about the baby? And then you kind of learn to go, okay, I need that power for myself, essentially. So that'd be an interesting to see kind of explore. And also how Silver Surfer will play into this, given that she's kind of a more independent. Now she's definitely not on Galactus's good side. So how that's going to work out is going to be very interesting. So I love that. But also, I wonder if we'll, after the events of Doomsday and Secret Wars, I imagine that it's going to be a bit of a reset. Like we've already kind of been indicated that that's kind of what's going to happen. Like, especially with the involvement of a Franklin Richards now too, whose power scale goes to a crazy fucking level in the comic books. There's definitely room for them to do that, but I really hope this is the last like just Fantastic Four movie that we get with this team. I really like to see them do a sequel to this movie where they get to face another threat. Some possible options would be someone like Annihilus would be a good villain for them. I don't know if they're going to factor Molecule Man into the Secret Wars stuff, so that there's still room for that there. But that's still something they can deal with. Kane, if they do reboot everything, Kane the Conqueror would be a fun way to reboot that threat and have them, because then there's the whole back and forth between Kang and Reed, and there's also that connection too, because Kang has familial ties to the Richards family as well. So I think that's something that you can kind of like reset the character with, given what we post Secret Wars, and we have that chance to kind of redo characters that weren't really done justice before. That'd be a lot of fun. And there's another one I was thinking of. We had Secret Invasion, we had the Super Scroll kind of thing, but I think we could see a cool like Super Scroll proper against the Fantastic Four as well. I think it'd be kind of cool if they just kind of rebooted what they did with the Scrolls after the events of Secret Wars as well. That'd be kind of cool. So yeah, just a couple of options there if we want to do just a Fantastic Four sequel. That's the stuff I want to see.
Yeah, and look, I'm all for it. I think that would be awesome. I am interested to see what happens after Secret Wars with this soft reboot, and I'm saying that in quotation marks because we don't really know how what the extent of this reboot's going to be. It's kind of just been kind of quoted as a soft reboot right now.
Yeah,
where certain characters
we don't really know the specifics of that, really.
Right, but I mean, I think it makes plenty of room to be able to give so many different characters and teams new story arcs that can be put into one or two new movies and stuff like that. Because obviously, if we're doing a soft reboot, we can get another Iron Man. We can get another Captain America.
Yeah, everyone. I think that's what everyone's mind jumped to when they heard that news, of course, and they were like, "Well, no, let's like pump the brakes there. Like, we don't need to like jump into those characters right away." But I'm like, yeah, you could definitely like redo some characters though, for sure. And I think some villains that definitely didn't get the justice they were given, or even some heroes, of course, I think deserve that as well. But yeah, it's a great opportunity just to be like, okay, we can kind of wipe that slate clean, or just give you a different version of that character. It doesn't have to necessarily be the same version.
Yeah, but what I also think is really cool. I mean, obviously, I think it's all but confirmed. I don't know 110% if we've gotten confirmed that Tom Holland is doing a new Spider-Man trilogy. I don't remember the details of his new signed deal. I know I've heard that in conversation and read that in conversation and stuff like that, that it's part, like, this is, his new movie coming out is going to be part of a new trilogy. But obviously the second two, if that's true, the second two movies of that trilogy will take place after this, after Secret Wars, after the soft reboot. So, I mean, we could have, moving forward, Fantastic Four and Spider-Man, like in a movie together.
Definitely something else I want to see in a sequel as well.
Exactly.
The Future Foundation stuff. Yeah, they kind of allude to the Future Foundation, I think, in this movie, of course, and they call it that. But yeah, it'd be a great way to get the white suit from Spider-Man.
Yeah, and I mean, doing that, and also, kind of forming the friendship bond between Spider-Man and Johnny, and just like a lot of really cool stuff that we can get after this soft reboot, where hopefully we're gonna see hundreds of characters being able to have interactions that the way that the MCU has been built so far wouldn't have been able to be possible. Like, we don't have mutants really in the MCU. I mean, Kamala Khan was basically our first introduction of a mutant in the MCU. But like, after the soft reboot, it's fair game. You can just be like, they've always been here, type of thing. And then we can go down, do some individual movies of some of like this. Like, there's rumors that we're getting a Storm movie, a Storm centric movie.
I would love a Storm movie.
Yeah,
I think that should be one for sure.
But I think the smartest thing is, obviously Storm's going to be the main character, but we can also have, some ties to Wakanda and stuff like that, and that can lead to, seeing like the relationship that she's had with Wakanda and with Black Panther and stuff like that, and to kind of, bring her fully into the MCU using some of the old stuff that we recognize, but also
we could get a new Black Panther too. That's
exactly.
Yeah, that's good. That would help that cause a lot.
But yeah, but like, that's what I'm saying. Like, we can see all of these characters being presented, solo, like we did the very early stages of the MCU when we were building characters up almost one by one. But we can also now, because we have this luxury of, there was 12, 15 years of the MCU pre the Secret Wars, reboot. We can kind of use some of that old material to kind of bring, to make the universe, I guess, feel smaller, feel more recognizable, type of thing. And like I said, there are no wrong answers on who they start with. I think I suggested the Storm movie because that's a rumor, and I know that one of the other things is that the next phase after the soft reboot is going to deal with mutants and stuff like that.
Of the X-Men,
right? And that's why I think it would be so interesting to kind of start with some individual movies, highlighting some of the X-Men characters before we get like the real X-Men team, like we kind of how we formed the Avengers team type of thing. We had all these solo movies first, but we also had where they kind of connected a little bit here and there, and we have so much to be able to play with to connect little odds and ends to these these solo X-Men movies or mutant movies type of thing. I think I'm just really excited. Like, I could go on and on and on
for sure.
and talk about that and everything post Secret Wars, and we're not even at Doomsday or Secret Wars, and I'm already excited for everything post that.
I just can't wait to see more Doom now. Like, we got to see the official look at the mask and everything, and so I'm excited to see what that first introduction scene for him is going to be. I've heard some theories, of course. I've read some books that could have some moments that could definitely be done on screen very well, and it seems like they might have alluded to a couple already. So yeah, I'm just very excited for what they're going to do with that character and what RDJ is going to do with it, because he's an amazing actor. And as much as it felt like stunt casting when it was announced, I just have a feeling that there's some purpose to it, and I feel that he's going to knock it out of the park.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I am excited for Spider-Man brand new day. I'm excited for Doomsday. I'm excited for Secret Wars. I'm excited for all of the TV shows. I've already been telling you how excited I am for Marvel Zombies and Wonder Man and Vision Quest. Like, there's just so many things.
Vision Quest is gonna be great.
Yeah. And all of these, we don't know what they're, what if they're going to have ties to the larger scope of what's going on. But at the same time, I'm still very excited for these characters because we never know if, that character is going to, after the soft reboot, play a bigger role in something when things get shuffled up a little bit and things are different. So it's really a cool time. It's kind of almost how we feel about or at least how I feel about the DCU, where there's endless possibilities because of Elseworlds and parallel universes and stuff like this, that, it's just really a cool time, I guess, to be excited about all of this stuff and how anything is possible right now moving forward in kind of both universes.
Yeah. It's another interaction I'm looking forward to seeing, because they're both going to be in the movie, for all three, but Reed, Sue, and Namor. Namor is going to be in Doomsday, and that could set up a very interesting dynamic going forward as well. That's probably one of the few things I'm looking forward to, like, as far as like who they could all interact with in those movies. Of course, like, obviously they've been announced with a lot of like former the X-Men cast and stuff like that, but there's some pretty good like Phase 4 cast members that they've been announced with as well. But Shang-Chi being one of them, of course. But I think seeing Tanaka Huerta as Namor will be a fun dynamic with Sue, of course. I think that just because of how that whole dynamic is in the comics, but also with Reed as well. Even really Namor and Doom is going to be a fun one, hopefully, to watch as well. There's so much like fantastic lore going on in this. I think that I hopefully they lean into that a lot in this movie. So, oh my god, yeah, I just remember that Namor is going to be in this. I'm like, oh, there's a whole like level to that to make that so much more fascinating. Because I thought about him for like a sequel too, like if they bring back the Fantastic Four into like the 616, like seeing the Fantastic Four go up against like someone like Namor would be really kind of cool as well. But he's also pretty like good, I think, at this point as well too. So yeah, but it's still, there's so many like character interactions, like you said, that I'm looking forward to seeing here.
Yeah, same. I can't wait for everything. I can't wait to kind of see more, get some teasers, just like you were saying, like for everything moving forward. And yeah, we'll be here for everything. And like, the next thing up we've got are zombies, like before the end of this month, really. I mean, so yeah, there's so much, and we will be here for each and every single one of them with you. But as we always say, that's what we think. Let us know in the comments below. What did you think of Fantastic Four First Steps? What were some of your favorite parts? And like I've already said, most important, what were some of your favorite kind of theories moving forward on how this is going to connect, on what's coming up with Doomsday and everything else moving forward? And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to hear about all of our latest audio and video podcast releases. Bye, everybody!
Poppin' Off presents That Recap Show.